platform. So today's topic is the 2026 Amazon growth formula. And we're really going to be diving deep on revenue growth strategies for Amazon sellers. What are the levers that you can pull to make a difference in your Amazon business this year? So Jake and I are going to go kind of back and forth. Jake's going to do a pretty in-depth demo of some of our Catalyst features. For those who aren't aware, Catalyst is really the Jungle Scout that you know and love. This is our main platform for Amazon sellers who are looking to find, launch, and grow products on Amazon. And then, of course, I'll get into the other products that we have in our product suite as well. So Jake's going to do a little deep dive into that, and then we're going to share some tips and tricks. But before we do that, I thought we would just do a little intro. So, of course, I'm Hillary. I'm our Vice President of Marketing here at Jungle Scout. You might have seen me before. I've been around Jungle Scout for a long time. I think in total, I've done two stints at Jungle Scout. I've been here for about 6 years in total. And of course, I'm based on the East Coast of Canada. How about you, Jake?
Yeah, thanks, Hillary. I'm Jake Zaratzian, the Brand Strategy and Growth Manager here at Jungle Scout. I've been making a lot of videos at Jungle Scout for a while, so if you're on YouTube, if you've seen our YouTube videos, hopefully you still enjoy those videos. Outside of that, I'm also a advertising consultant for brands, and so a lot of what we're speaking to today, I've done myself, I've experienced firsthand, and it's actually what I'm also doing to help grow my own brand's revenue on Amazon. So looking forward to this call and getting started with 2026 on a strong note.
Yeah, amazing. So for a little Jungle Scout history for those who aren't aware. So Jungle Scout, we in 2015 celebrated, or in 2025 rather, celebrated our 10-year anniversary. So Jungle Scout was founded in 2015. And I like to say that we invented Amazon intelligence. Jungle Scout was first to market with Amazon data and insight, with the data and Amazon Insights platform. And for that reason, we are able to have 11 times more GMV coverage on Amazon than any other provider. We have 600 million plus products that you can track and explore on Amazon. And then we offer 10 years worth of data. So we have been refining and honing our data models for the last 10 years, making us the most accurate and the most reliable platform in the space. And along with that, we've been launching new features, and we've been doing everything that we can to try to serve sellers like yourselves, like the folks who are joining us on the call today. And with that in mind, I wanted to do a quick introduction for those who aren't aware of Jungle Scout's entire product suite. We actually have 4 main product offerings. So today we're going to be primarily talking about Catalyst. So I like to think of Catalyst for everyone who's making under $1 million in Amazon revenue. If you are under $1 million in Amazon revenue, Catalyst is a great platform for you. It's got everything that you need to manage your business. It's got everything you need to get started. So it's got our amazing academy. You'll find Jake's face, I think, in the academy a few times in there to teach you how the ropes of selling on Amazon. It's got all the tools that you need to optimize your listings, get more reviews, everything that you really need to skyrocket and get started and really reach that next echelon. And then when you go over $1 million, this is where you start to look at our other products in our suite. So we've got Cobalt. This is our flagship brand and retailer and agency platform. So anyone who is has higher sales volume, selling multiple products, selling multiple lines of products, this is typically the solution for you. You get a broader slice of the market. You can just ingest and analyze more data and slice and dice and compare in all sorts of different ways. There's data sets in there that are not available in Catalyst that are, of course, more relevant to folks as they go up market. We have our cloud product. This is a raw data delivery product for anyone who wants broader Amazon data, wants to ingest it in their own way. And of course, we have our consult product, which is incredible. You get to work with done for you reports, executive reporting, everything that you need to really help you at an executive level. And we really take all the strategy and insights out of Cobalt or out of our data products and do that for you. And since we're talking about Catalyst today, that's going to be the main focus. It would not be a new year at Jungle Scout if we did not have a promotion to offer. So we are offering a discount on our Catalyst platform. I'm pulling up the link for you right now, and I'm going to pop that into the chat because this is a limited time offer. Actually, insanely enough, I just shared the link to the deal there. This is the first and probably only time that we are offering widespread access to our lifetime access plan. So that means if you want Jungle Scout for life, pay once, get it for life. We are offering that on our Growth Accelerator plan. That's our mid-tier plan. And our brand owner plan. That's our highest tier plan that offers the deep competitive intelligence functionality that Jake is going to demo for you today. So again, this is a limited time offer. I can't underscore this enough. It actually runs out on Friday. So now's the time. You got to get it while you can.
Yeah, if you're watching it live right now, you still have time. That's great. If you're watching afterwards, don't worry. That 30% off is still good till the end of this month. So, I mean, these are two great deals. But if you're watching live right now, at least click that link, put it open on your tab. If you're watching from your computer, if your phone, just keep it open. You have that link. It's going to be nice and handy for you if you're able to snag that. I mean, these deals, I mean, what I was looking at earlier, like brand owner, lifetime access is less than the yearly cost right now. That's
it's insane.
A no-brainer.
And this tool, I mean, I know you're going to get into it, but the functionality is incredible. I'm excited to share it with everyone. And with that in mind, Jake, I'm going to let you do your thing. So I'm going to remove this here, and I'll let you drive.
Alrighty, well, let's jump into it. This is the agenda slide, a non-traditional agenda slide. And what we're going to talk about today, as noted in the description title of this webinar, is we're going to help you understand like the two main pillars of growing your revenue on Amazon, growing your top line sales. This isn't a profitability webinar. However, we're not going to disregard that entirely. But right now we want to talk about the two main ways of growing your revenue. And there are two specific ways that you can grow it and how Jungle Scout can help. The first way on the left here is by growing your existing catalog. This is where you're probably going to see the majority of your revenue growth this year, or at least in this first part of the year that you can act on right now. And that's by selling more of your products, doing that 80-20 analysis, finding that 20% of your products that are making 80% of your sales and blowing that up, going even harder this year in these first couple of weeks. The other half of that is expanding your product catalog into new product categories, into new niches, selling more products at your target audience, especially if you're building a brand right now around a specific problem or a specific audience type, selling more products that they want. Maybe it's adjacent to your categories. Maybe it's completely different, but it's still going to that same type of person. And we're going to have some real life examples to show you. And before we get into and we reveal these kind of four levers underneath, right? Because these two at the top here are the pillars of revenue growth. Underneath, we have these levers that you can pull to actually achieve that. But before we get that, I want to back up and talk about creating a market for your product and your brand on in Jungle Scout. So if you're not familiar, and it's what we just kind of alluded to earlier with the two different pricing brands, or two different brands within Jungle Scout that you can get. One was the brand owner. In the brand owner, you get access to a relatively new tool in Catalyst called competitive intelligence. And what this allows you to do is to see your market completely. And what you can do if you have this, or if you're going to upgrade, you just click create segment, you throw in your ACE in here, and what it's going to do is populate a bunch of products that are relevant to your category. It's just going to look at your product and then find all the similar products. You can also add products manually here through the extension or any other way that you would find ASINs. But where this is very important, because we're talking about revenue today, but you really want to consider the fact that revenue, while super, super important, and I'm not going to take away from that fact, but it's not the end all be all, because if your market's growing faster than your revenue's growing, that's sort of like a false positive, right? If you're growing 5% month over month or 20% month over month, but your market is growing 100 or 200% and your closest competitors are outpacing you, it's a little bit of a false negative. So this is why it's very important to look at your market share on Amazon. And this tool does that. It helps you see everything. I'm going to get more into it later. This isn't just going to be a product demo, but I am going to use this pretty heavily to demo kind of these levers that we're going to talk about today. But coming back to the slide here real quick, let's go into that first lever.
Hey Jake, just quickly, sorry, before we go ahead, I saw someone said in the chat, a few folks said if you could speak up a little bit. So if you don't mind raising your voice or raising your volume, would love to make sure everyone.
Perfect. Yep, I'm going to raise that right now. Let me know. Is that better? Okay, thank you.
Feels better to me.
That's why the chat is amazing.
More thumbs up in the chat.
Perfect. Well, yeah, let us know if there's any other technical issues or anything else we can do to optimize, but thanks for that note there. But yeah, jumping into it. So the first main lever for growing your existing product catalog revenue is optimizing your traffic, right? There's really two ways of growing on Amazon. It's getting more people to see your listing, to actually get to your page, to have the opportunity to convert a sale. And the other way, which I guess I'll just spoil it now, but won't get into right away, is how do you convert better, right? So getting more people to visit you and getting more people to convert. But let's talk about traffic optimization. And right now, on Amazon, you are probably not capturing all of the attention that your product truly deserves. And I don't mean that in a way that is saying like there's these broad keywords or these keywords that aren't related to your product that you should also be showing up for. What I mean is the hyper relevant keywords that relate to your exact product you should be showing up for. You should be showing up as high as possible. And so what you can do in competitive intelligence is use this keywords tab here. This is one of the most, I think, powerful parts of this entire feature of competitive intelligence. And just real quick to set the stage, we're going to pretend that we are this product. A Pet's Planet is the brand, and what they sell is this hard-cover dog seat for your car. This is sort of perfect for me right now. I just got a new puppy, and we're trying to make her car rides a little more enjoyable. But just wanted to set the stage for you for this, the rest of this webinar. This is going to be the main example that we're using, and we're pretending to be this brand here. And there's similar products out there. This is a competitor called Rough-Liners. They're actually featured on Shark Tank, so they have a little more brand authority than this product here. So I do think it's a perfect example to use. But backing up here real quick, what I love about this tool is in the Keywords tab, there are two main ways that you can uncover what we call keyword gaps, right? These are the keywords that your competitors are either outranking you on completely, and you can find those in the weak section here. So this is going to look at your product right here on the far right, and your competitor on the far right. You can select more competitors that you like. If you want to, grab 5 or 6 of your top competitors, you can do that. And the other way is finding keywords that your competitors are ranking for, but you're not even showing up at all. And so that's what the missing tab will do. And as you can see right here, overall rank, we can switch between organic and sponsored if we want to get really precise with this, but overall, we're missing about 314 keywords compared to Rough-Liners, and they're beating us on 41 keywords organically. You can do the same thing with sponsored. There's only 3 keywords they're beating us on with ads. So it looks like this brand does a really good job of advertising, but they're still missing a lot of keywords that this brand is advertising on and actually showing up pretty strongly for. And so hopefully this is helpful. Let us know in the chat if you're already using competitive intelligence or this feature specifically. What's great is you can then start tracking these keywords. So the main ones I would start tracking right away if you have this tool available to you is you can go to overall, organic, or sponsored. It doesn't really matter. I'd probably just start with overall. Track, you don't have to track all the keywords, but track the ones that are most relevant for you. Like for instance, I wouldn't track F-150. It's not really relevant. I'm sure they're showing up for it because their product fits in a Ford F-150. But track the most relevant ones. All you have to do is click the track button, and then that actually enables this position tracking section here, or this additional tab, where you can then see over time how you're ranking. Again, we can switch between organic or sponsored over time. And this is super powerful. You can click into each one to see historical data, if there's any of the top products, as well as which brands have the most share of voice for this keyword. So super powerful stuff that you can get in this keyword tab, keywords section here. But that's how you identify your keyword gaps on Amazon. Super powerful for just getting more presence in the Amazon search results. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, let us know if you have any questions. We do have a Q&A, by the way, at the end of this webinar. But if you do have any questions, and Hillary, feel free to stop me again if there's any specific questions we would want to get to as I'm talking through it. But let's go ahead and move on. So we did talk about traffic optimization, and as I sort of spoiled earlier, there is a second lever of this left-hand side of growing your existing catalog, and that is converting more. So conversion rate optimization is this next challenge. You did all this work, or have done all this work of bringing more shoppers to your listing, but now if you can't convert, it's not really going to be that helpful bringing all that traffic in. In fact, it actually might hurt you. If Amazon sees your conversion rate goes down on certain, or is very low on certain terms, they're going to be less likely to show you in the future unless you prove them otherwise by updating your listing. And the main ways of updating your listing, as you know, everybody knows there is keywords. Keywords is important, don't get me wrong. And Jungle Scout is great at helping you find more keywords to advertise on. But with Amazon now leaning more towards a system where they are the ones to kind of define your product with AI and a lot of more back-end fields that you can fill out that aren't necessarily visible on your listing, it is less of a main lever to move the needle, if that makes sense. What I would recommend focusing more of your time on is your images, your videos, your A+ content down here at the bottom. And what we're going to talk about right now is mostly how to optimize your creative images. Apologies if you hear my dog barking, that's the puppy I was talking about. But let's now shift back over to Jungle Scout and competitive intelligence. We switched to the keywords tab in the last section, but listing and reviews, this is one of the more, I think, unique tools or abilities that I've seen any Amazon tool, have in their product. A lot of other products have similar keyword tools, but this one's very unique to Jungle Scout and Catalyst in particular. What it allows you to do is to compare your product against, I think it's maybe 4 competitors. Right now we just have 3 competitors, that Rough Liners product and 2 others, and really do a image or listing comparison. You have review count, star rating, but the main meat and potatoes here that I want to talk about most is the review sentiment, right? And when optimizing your listing, whether you're creating a brand new listing from scratch or trying to figure out how to optimize your conversion rate and increase it, this is where you want to start. You can do this at the individual product level like we're doing here and compare against your competitors, or you can also do it at the category level within Amazon. But this is the fastest and easiest way, in my opinion, to figure out what images and videos you should really focus on. And so the main general rule of thumb here is in the pros, what people are complimenting your products on, what they're complimenting your competitors' products on, you want to make sure you emphasize these, right? So it's very simple. Pros, emphasize. But to be honest with you, I spend more of my time on the cons. Cons are these friction points, right? These areas where somebody either bought a previous product, right? So if this is our product and this is our competitor product, perhaps they bought this product and they didn't like something about it, and so now they're going to try to buy another product, but they really want to make sure that it does something that that other product didn't do well, right? And so these are the things that they're going to be looking at through the images, the title if it's there, and the reviews especially. So if you have a friction point in your reviews, and maybe in your competitors' reviews as well, you want to make sure you address that in the images and videos. So to summarize that, emphasize the good and address the bad. And I just wanted to go through a quick example here. Limited traction seems to be an issue here. Dogs may slide around due to lack of traction. Size limitations. May not fit all car models. Thin cushion. Okay, so these are some things that we can fix, but let's see if they're addressing it. So this is another great part of this tool here is you can see the images comparison. So very similar main image. I see our product looks like a more AI than some of these other products or some of these other listings here. But I don't really see much that addresses like that size comparison. There is this one that in that right-hand corner says pickup SUV car sedan. But one thing I noticed on this listing is it just doesn't really, I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels AI. It feels very cheaply made, these images. And so if I was this brand, I would come through, completely redo the images. You don't necessarily have to use real photography, but there are better tools out there now, especially with Google Gemini, that will do a lot better job than what we're seeing here, and they will be able to really put together a solid game plan for you to come up with image ideas that address these friction points in your listing. But let me pause real quick. If you guys have any questions so far, again, feel free to leave them down in the comments or in the chat, and then if we don't get to them now, we'll get to them at the end of this webinar.
Perfect. I saw some notes in the chat, Jake, that said that your connection was kind of cutting in and out, but I just looked at your network status, which I can see in my panel, and it looks like it's improved, and so far so good. So let's keep it up, and folks, raise the flag if you are having connection issues, and more than happy to see what we can do to adjust the screen share. We definitely want to make sure that Jake can screen share so he can show you all the in-depth things inside of the cobalt panel. But yeah, otherwise, Jake, keep it up. Looks like your strength is back to all green.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks for that, guys. Awesome. So one thing I want to touch on here real quick, I'm going to come back to the slide here, is we've talked about so far the main ways to grow your existing catalog, right? This I would spend the majority of your time on. I mentioned that earlier. You want to spend the majority of your time growing what you already have. It's going to be a lot easier than this second half, but this second half has greater potential overall in terms of long terms. And so we want to make sure that we put an emphasis on growing your existing catalog first, and something you can do like this week, but very soon start planning your next move, because like I said, expanding your product catalog over time can potentially be the main driver of your business and actually overtake your existing products. So let's move into that second pillar and go into the very first lever under expanding your product catalog. And that is by identifying the product offering gaps that you already sell. And so there are probably variations in your category or different ways of selling your product that you don't have that your competitors have, right? And so let's come back to these two listings as an example, just to see if we can identify a few. In fact, because I set this up, I'm aware of a few, but one thing that I noticed right away is this product, and this is just an example of identifying a product offering gap, something that your competitors offer that you don't, is look at the variation. So the two variations they have is a color variation, black, and a gray variation, so black and gray. And then the other kind of differentiator here that they just kind of group together under style is no door covers and with door covers. So technically two different types of products, black and gray, with door covers, without door covers. And they say in their listing, their title, for car, truck, and SUV. But seeing this category myself and actually being a shopper myself, someone who's bought one of these, I do know there's a big difference between a car, an SUV, a small truck, and a full-size truck, or even a full-size SUV, like a family SUV with a third row. It's completely different. It's wider, it's longer, it's taller. I guess you don't really need taller. Actually, probably do need taller with the seats, but it's mostly wider and longer. And you can verify this with the size dimension. So 61 by 24 versus 54 by 25. And so that is something that I would look at right away. And in fact, I think it came up in their negative reviews. Yeah, it may not fit all car models. And so that's a limitation within their product. They can probably try to fix it with their images and try to get a less return rate by, making sure that to say like, hey, this fits everything other than a big full-size truck, a big full-size SUV. That probably would help limit returns. But that is a product offering gap that they have right now that their competitors don't. And another way that you can sort of identify these, rather than just going back and forth from your listing to your competitor's listing, is just going into their stores. And you'll want to do this with a brand that is clearly selling to a specific type of shopper, right? So this is a great example, Rough Liners. They're not really just selling any product under the moon. They are selling to a specific customer, and that's someone that's traveling with their dogs. And so you can see they have what we just were looking at were these seat extenders, and they also have dog beds. And these dog beds, what's great about it is they are promoting them as it fits into their perfect size for the the seat extender. So it's kind of an add-on to their products that they have already. So this is a great way that you can use. You can start in Jungle Scout to identify these friction points, but then I would actually bring it over to Amazon and do a little bit of manual work to identify what other products your competitors are offering that you aren't. And so that's the first way. And this second way that we're going to talk about, the second lever of growing with new revenue streams, is actually category expansion. And this is a real fun one, because this is when you start looking at other products that you don't currently sell, and it can be completely different. It could be outside of, in this case, the pet travel space. But I would still challenge you to keep it within that, because what's great about Amazon advertising, and this isn't even including AMC, but this is including regular Amazon ads, is you can retarget. And within Seller Central itself, you have brand tailored promotions. You can retarget and cross-sell with discounts and incentives to get people to buy, in this case for this brand, the pet bed for their pet extender. And so a few things, you can again go back, you can see what other brands are doing in this case. They have seat covers, dog beds, extenders, they have accessories, which, yeah, just a water bowl there. But what's great about keyword research tools is in Catalyst, you go to Keyword Scout, and then what I like to do, and I already have it kind of put up here, is actually just type in my audience, essentially. Dog car travel. I'm looking for products or keywords that relate to dogs in a car, and then I just put a broader term, travel. And this is where you can really start to see here, and what I'm looking at is exact search volume mostly, just to see how big these categories are, the demand is for certain products. And so I see booster car seat. That's massive. And just by the way, that is a different type of product. Oh, sorry, that is actually for babies. I did this yesterday. But there is a dog one, I believe. Dog hammock. So this is another example of a different type of back seat. So this is one that doesn't have a hard bottom to it. So that's a different type. Someone might not necessarily need the hard bottom. Back seat cover for dogs is a little bit different. So again, it doesn't have a hard bottom to it. There was booster seat somewhere. I haven't saved. But what you would do in this case is look through other verticals. Look through other products that you may want to sell. Start saving the products and build out, and this is what you may be familiar with already if you're not familiar with competitive intelligence, is our product tracker tool. This one's been around since, 2014 or 15, since the inception of Jungle Scout. And what's really great here is you started in Keyword Scout, right, to identify niches. Then very similar to a competitive intelligence segment. And by the way, this is great if you don't have the brand owner plan and you don't want to, you're not able to upgrade to competitive intelligence. Product Tracker comes with most of the other plans. It just changes based on how many products that you can track between both of the plans. But this is great because this allows you to enable this heat map and really figure out, okay, which new category should I consider launching this year? And so I just put together as an example a few. So you have dog travel carriers, which are these, little like on the go travel carriers. But then we also have, what were some of these other higher ones? Dog steps for cars. So that's a very interesting one. Then we have seat belts. So this is one that I actually think is very interesting. I noticed the Rough-Liners product, Hillary, they don't do something that our product in this case is doing. And sorry, I'm trying to find it here. I think I just got to click on the listing here. And so dog seatbelts is almost like an adjacent product here, right? And so this product that we're pretending to be ours, they don't mention it that well. They just kind of hide it. But it comes with a carry bag and seatbelt. And you can kind of see it right here, but they don't really like advertise it. I don't even think they even say it in their title. But Rough-Liners, as seen on Shark Tank brand, and I think they got a deal, I want to say, they don't even have a seatbelt in there. You have to buy those separate. So this is very interesting. I mean, you could sell the seatbelt separately. I think that would be great. It seems to have its own market. This is average revenue over the past 30 days. And so you can see there is a big difference between the top and the bottom here. But if you're already thinking about maybe adding a seatbelt, asking your manufacturer to include seatbelts on your, in this case, dog bed extender, this could be a great opportunity for you to actually just sell those in bulk. And then I have car barrier for dog was another one, basically just like a mesh crate. You put it in the trunk so they can't jump over, or even put it behind your front seat so they can't jump over. Car bed mats, like I mentioned, and then these car booster seats are almost just like, baby seats for your dog.
I always laugh at the image of the baby and the dog kind of sitting together in the baby dog car seat.
Yeah.
But I love what you're saying, Jake, about keeping, like, innovating based on demand, looking at where there are revenue signals and there are consumer demand signals, but keeping it within your wheelhouse. I mean, it just creates so much more potential for margin growth because you can start to sell bundles, you can package things together, and you really are building a brand for yourself in a space versus just launching what you think will work, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what, I would say, a couple years ago, maybe more than a couple years ago, but it was less important to build a brand. You could launch anything. We would recommend it on YouTube. Greg Mercer, the founder of Jungle Scout, he was famous for saying, launch whatever. I mean, follow the money. And that still is true today. I'm not saying it's not. But with increased competition, with increased costs, it is more important now to build a brand. I mean, you're seeing brands launch on TikTok, and people are liking them because it's a brand, not just because it's one product. And so I would challenge you to first try to stay within your category, or really just think about it as don't even think category, because that's like an Amazon term. Think of audience, a shopper. Who's the person buying this product? How can I essentially get them to give me $30 to $50 to $80? How can I increase their basket size? And so, yeah, great point there, Hillary. One more thing I just want to talk on the product tracker. You can do it very similarly in competitive intelligence. Is you not only want to make sure you size up the market size, right? In this case, we're using revenue and units sold, but you want to also consider profitability. So you can sort these by price to understand, and Amazon fees and net revenue, which is looking at everything other than COGS. So keep that in mind. But you want to make sure that you're not just going to sell a product that is, in this case, $14, $15. This might not be the worst idea, selling these seatbelts, if you're also going to include them in your extender in this case. But $14, $15, that's not going to leave that much room for revenue. I imagine the COGS on these are at least going to be $3. So keep profitability in mind. Like I mentioned earlier at the start of this webinar, this is a revenue-focused webinar, but we're not going to throw profitability out the window here. And then lastly, reviews. And so what I like to do here is sort by revenue to see the highest at the top. And thankfully with this heat map, we're able to see, what's the highest, most competitive market. And this is a great way of looking at it. These are the average reviews of all the products that we've collected in these categories. Sorry. And you can see how many we have up here for each, like 49, 87, 100. But another thing that I would challenge you to do, and this is go to Travel Carrier for Dogs, for example, is don't just look at averages, don't just look at the big number. You can see these numbers in the extension as well when you're on Amazon, but actually look at the concentration of the top brands within the group. And you can do this again in the extension or in here, but you would sort by revenue and look at the review numbers. And this is sort of just showing you, okay, how competitive, this is one listing here, that's why they're all the same. How long have these brands been on here, and then what's their revenue look like? And what I like to see is that the first couple of products or brands really aren't hogging up all the sales. So this is about $500,000. If that just dropped to like 50,000 or 100,000, I would be less likely to want to launch in here because then it's very top heavy. I really like to see brands with under 1,000 reviews. In this case, 254 reviews. They're doing pretty good. This is what I like to see. Under 500. They're doing pretty good. So I challenge you to actually look more than just the averages and dive into the groups that you're looking at, whether it's here in the product tracker or like I mentioned earlier or showed in competitive intelligence as well. So with that, we're going to round this off with the 30-day action plan. So this is what you can take away from this webinar. If you take away anything, if you're just tuning in, hey, you're in the right spot. This is the best part. This is the best part to be in. So what we want to do week one is to create a market share baseline. Whether you're using Catalyst and competitive intelligence, like I mentioned earlier, or you're using something else, the main goal is to understand your market share so that when you make changes, like the changes that we recommended today, you're able to see if that's increasing or decreasing your market share. That's going to be massive. So make sure you start there, you create a baseline first, and then get into your keyword gap sprint. So run a focused keyword gap sprint to uncover those missing keywords and those weak keywords that your competitors are beating you on. Again, we're trying to give ourselves more opportunity to convert the sale. Speaking of, that's going to be equally as important, if not more important, is fixing the foundation of your listing. So in week 3, really start putting effort, and you could probably switch week 2 and 3. It really doesn't matter, but as long as these two come or are worked on together, that's all that matters. And so you want to improve your conversion rate, your chances of winning the sales, especially on increased traffic, by mostly optimizing your images and videos based on real customer reviews and incentives. That's not saying don't optimize your title, your bullet points, your description. That is very important. But what moves the needle on Amazon, especially on mobile where the majority of shoppers are, is images and videos. So work on those. Out of all 4 of these, this is probably the most important. Now, in week 4, this is where you want to build your expansion shortlist. I think this is kind of fun because it's not something that you necessarily can act on right away in terms of like buying the product and selling it within these next 4 weeks. But start identifying those expansion opportunities. Evaluate the product offering gaps that your competitors sell that you don't, but then separately, think about what other categories and other verticals that you can launch into using a tool like Catalyst to identify the highest demand products, making sure that it's going to be profitable when you reach out to suppliers, making sure that fits within the margins that you need to run the business profitably, and then make sure it's not overly competitive where new sellers aren't showing success. And so this is the 30-day action plan. Screenshot this, do whatever you need, and rewatch this back if you need. We have a bunch of help center articles and training in Catalyst itself. So if you need more help, make sure you come down here to the Academy and you can watch more videos on these tools that will help you get a head start. And then as Hillary teed up in the beginning of this webinar, if you're watching this live right now, you have one more day to get in on these on the lifetime deal, right? So we have 2 deals going on. We have the lifetime access that ends January 8th. And you can get the brand owner plan, which does include competitive intelligence, for essentially cheaper than the yearly price of brand owner. And this deal here goes until the end of the month. So even if you're watching this post January 8th, these are still 2 heck of a deals that you can save about 30%. These are New Year's deals. So take action, even if you just open up the page. We'll put it back in the chat right now. But I would highly recommend the brand owner plan on, it doesn't matter if you're watching it now or in a week from now, but I highly recommend that so you do get access to competitive intelligence. You also get 2 years of historical data versus 1 year's. And then if you're using the product tracker or any other products, you get, 2,000 products versus just 150. So highly recommend acting on these deals, especially the lifetime deal. I think this is one heck of a deal right here. And let us know if you have any questions. But yeah, other than that, we do have some time allotted for a Q&A. So feel free, if you haven't already, to drop your questions down in the chat.
Amazing. And Jake, I'm gonna interrupt you for 1 second because the last topic that you really covered was that subcategory expansion, that innovation piece. And for those of you who are on the chat, maybe you have a bigger brand and you're looking to do more in the innovation side, you're looking to grow your catalog and you're really taking your business to the next step, we do have a live webinar happening at this exact same time tomorrow, which I just dropped the link for our Cobalt product. So we're going to be diving deep into all of the signals that go into innovation and how you really know when a trend is ripe to innovate upon. We're going to be doing a really in-depth case study in the beauty and personal care category. It's one of my favorite case studies that we've ever done. So definitely feel free to register for that one and tune in tomorrow. We'd be happy to have you all there. But without further ado, I see we've got a ton of questions, which we love questions. So thank you so much. I do see in particular on the deal, just that like it's ending tomorrow. There is a slight chance of extending it. So I will let you know, but we will be emailing folks who joined and registered for this webinar. We will be emailing everyone a link to the deal. So if you haven't taken advantage, take advantage, because for sure, lifetime is running out quickly. So I would not wait.
Yeah, I see Ryan here. He mentioned he did lifetime. He got access to a lifetime brand owner, so that's awesome. And Hillary, I don't know. I've seen a few questions about this. Are you aware? What if somebody already has another membership? Maybe they have something else and they want to get access. Can they just upgrade to that? How does that work?
For sure, yeah. So they can reach out to our support team, and the support team would be happy to hook them up with a new subscription to the lifetime plan. So we're happy to do that. Let's say you're like midway through like a 1-year plan or something like that. We want to make sure that you're able to to get the offer while you have it.
Perfect, awesome. And I know this was a very popular question. It always is. Is there going to be a replay of this webinar? Absolutely. You're going to get this. This webinar, we'll actually probably cut it up a little bit in the very beginning just to get it started right away, but you will get access to this webinar. There is a replay. Just make sure, I believe, check your email. I think you'll get an email with it. Otherwise, this page that you're on should actually still play it. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm seeing another one here. Does the lifetime brand owner plan have access to all of the tools JS has? Absolutely. This is like the Cadillac of Jungle Scout plans.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for all of the features that we offer, if you are looking for the maximum amount of data that you can ingest, the maximum amount of data history that you can get, this is the one.
Yep.
So definitely recommend the brand owner plan if you want access to everything that we have to offer.
Yeah, just showing it up on screen here one more time. But there is the main difference, like I mentioned, between brand owner and a growth accelerator, whether you get the lifetime access or just the monthly access, is competitive intelligence, that tool that allows you to create a market and do a lot of the keyword research for you and the listing optimization prep for you. There's even this products page here. We can see which products are trending up, top performers, top rated, and so on. And you can, didn't really even get into the meat and potatoes of all this, but you're able to look at different metrics over time. And we have these, this date range selector over here. And so this is super helpful, and it's one of the greatest differentiators between being a brand owner and a growth accelerator.
Yeah, absolutely. I see we got an awesome question about finding a first product. So as a beginner, how do we find a first product that's not overly competitive and still profitable? This is like Jungle Scout 101, Jake. So I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, so there's a lot of tutorials that we have. However, there are going to be some outdated, I would say, like overarching like methodologies in terms of, I think I mentioned this earlier, of like sort of just things to think about. And so previously it was to just launch any product. Now there is more of an emphasis on building a brand. That is definitely something that you should keep in mind. And so where you would start, and we have a lot of tutorials on YouTube if you just want to get started there, and I can actually just share my screen real quickly here. I won't go through it. I'll just highlight where to get started. But in Catalyst here, we have a lot of product research tools. We have a product database, which looks at all the products on Amazon. Opportunity is more trying to find niches, so it groups products together. But really, I think a great place to start, and I mentioned this earlier, is Keyword Scout. Using keyword search term volume data to find niches that are high volume. And these will typically translate very well to to sales estimates, right? So search volume and sales estimates are typically in relation to each other. So this is where I would start, is in a keyword research tool. It keeps it very low effort and really, maybe not low effort, but it makes it very frictionless to get started by just using keyword research to get started. So I would start there. And again, we have a lot of resources, so make sure to check out our YouTube videos or the Academy within Catalyst. Has a lot of tutorials there for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Keyword Scout is like, I know maybe I said competitive intelligence is my favorite tool. It's maybe my favorite new tool, but Keyword Scout is like a go-to. I look at keyword data on a daily basis. I just find it fascinating how we're able to get the pulse on what is like a rising trend happening on Amazon.
Yeah, essentially like that workflow is like start somewhere like with sales estimates or keyword search volume, and then to verify that demand and to look at the market, then move it over to competitive intelligence to do more of a deeper dive and compare different categories.
Yeah, and make sure that trends are sustainable too, right? There's a lot of things that are like a flash in the pan. A great example is eclipse glasses. Eclipses don't come around just every year, right? So that may have super high search volume at one given point, but it's not sustainable, right? So it's probably not a place that you want to invest in, even though the search volume is high.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
I did see that someone asked sharing the email of the support team. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the email just to the stage for a minute. Oh, I see that that's probably, I don't know if that's getting cut off or not, but I popped it in the chat. So just support@junglescout.com if you need to reach out to the support team for help upgrading to one of our lifetime plans or one of the other offers that we have available on the New Year's offer page.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see here. Yeah, let us know if you have any other questions here? Trying to go through that list and
I've got Angelica submitted to Q&A. Let's just let me add that one to the stage. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what to do if your competitors are copying your best-selling products one by one and selling at a lower price? The dupers. This is
The
like,
dupers, yeah.
I know,
Well,
they
first
don't
off,
rest.
yeah, as long and Angelica, let us know, like as long as they're not infringing on, patents or anything, right? Like I would actually take this as a sign of respect that you're doing something good, right? That's other people want to copy it. This is inevitable. This is going to happen. There's hardly any products or categories or niches out there that are in demand and worth launching into that other brands haven't already figured that out. So that is going to happen. I wouldn't worry about it if they're lower priced than you. And you do sell the exact same product, you just need to beat them on your listing. You need to convince sellers or shoppers that you have a more superior product, and that's going to mostly be through listing optimization, your images and your videos. You need to stand out in some way, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. Again, it's inevitable that copying or duping is going to happen. If anything, just take it as a sign of respect and understand that it is inevitable. But there's a
Yeah.
lot that you can do on the conversion side of things to stand out.
Yeah, that's where that brand equity piece really comes into play. Because if you can
Yeah.
build a brand that shoppers are going to trust, then they're going to go to you before the dupers, right? Before the folks
Yeah.
that they don't necessarily know if that product has the same measure of quality or the same measure of safety or security, depending on what the product is. There's
Mm.
a lot you can do on the advertising side there to outbid
Yeah,
them, or appear on their
absolutely.
listings and all that stuff too. I did see one earlier on in the chat that I wanted to make sure to
Yeah.
tackle. This is from Daniel. How does the new Rufus AI impact Amazon listing creation, and how does Jungle Scout help sellers adapt to Rufus? This is a very timely question. Jake, do you want to take that
Hmm.
one?
Yeah, so with Rufus, I mean, it's very interesting. There's not a lot that you can directly do on the back end or anything that Amazon's saying, hey, if you update this, we'll include it in Rufus. I assume that at some point they will be a little more transparent with what they're using. But the main lever that I'm aware of that you can influence is your back end product details. And Amazon is constantly adding in more. If you launched a product about 4 or 5 years ago, there was probably half the amount of back end fields that there are now when you create a new listing. And so by adding in more of those fields, it's essentially training Amazon's algorithm to know how to recommend your product, to understand your product fully. And so I would right now like challenge you to go in your back end and fill out as much as you can that's relevant. Don't try to just fill out things that aren't relevant, but I feel like most accounts that I've seen, they don't fill out maybe 80% of the back end because it's not required. There's a lot of optional fields there, but I would really challenge you to go in there and do that. Amazon's AI is going to use that. It's going to use shopper searches that convert as sort of an indicator as well. So there's a little bit you can't do. You're kind of restricted from influencing, but what you can manage is your back end information.
Perfect. I'm seeing even more questions come through. This is like a piping hot audience chat today, which we we love to see. So from Amer here, I've seen that sellers can quickly estimate how many units per day they need to sell to rank for a specific keyword. Can this be determined, or how can this be determined using Jungle Scout?
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, there are some algorithmic ways of doing this, and I will quickly show it to you on screen here. However, I wouldn't treat it as an absolute science. I would just use it use it directionally. And so, real quick, let me just go to a search here. And I think I don't even have it enabled, but recommended promotions, if you're using Catalyst, specifically Keyword Scout. So recommended promotions is a metric that's going to directionally tell you, again, don't fall in love with the actual number. Fall in love with the idea that 35 is smaller than 57, and 57 is way smaller than 303, right? So higher, lower, even lower. So recommended promotions is your metric that's telling you if you sell this amount of sales every day for the next 7 to 14 days or 1 or 2 weeks, you will get in the top 3 overall ranking, organic ranking, or just ranking in general. And so in Catalyst, to answer your question directly, this is the metric that you'd want to enable in Keyword Scout. But again, don't fall in love with the number, just fall in love with the direction that these are in relation to each other. But hopefully that answers your questions. Let me know if that was different than what you were expecting, or if there's anything else that we can clear up on that one.
Yeah. That's great. There's some really good questions coming through. I just saw another one. Is there US customs data available in the brand owner plan? And yes, there is. So this is the data that's available inside of our supplier database tool. You can
Yes.
see, you can enter in any ASIN, and providing that we have that information available, that that product has been made available in the US, we can see the factory where it originated. So supplier database, this is a tool that's unique to Jungle Scout. You can't get this same functionality through other providers. And it's useful in my, I was telling some team members this the other day, I was deciding between two wool coats from like two different stores. And I was like, oh wait, did these two different stores make these in the same factory? Maybe I should just buy the cheaper one. So, that's my personal edge case usage of the supplier database. But this is a fantastic resource for finding new suppliers. When we saw the introduction of tariffs back in 2025, usage for the supplier database tool shot through the ceiling because people were all trying to log on, and try to see if they can expand their supplier footprint to new countries where tariffs had a lower impact, which is really interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm just showing it here. There's multiple ways to search for it. I struck out on an ASIN. We're not going to be able to find every ASIN, but you could try to find a competitor or another product specific supplier by typing in their ASIN. Again, it won't always work. Not every product is going to be in here, but you can also start with just a product description, a company. So this would be like an actual seller name. So Apets Planet would be the seller name, not the brand store. And you can also start with a supplier if you found a supplier somewhere on Alibaba or somewhere else and you want to check them here. But once you do that, you can actually track suppliers too. You can, hit just like you would track keywords, you can, track suppliers as well. But yeah, great question, and great nod to supplier database.
Yeah. I see. I think we've almost drained all the questions coming into our chat. I'm hoping that I got them all. Again, I will share the link to the New Year's deal. One last plug from me. Again, the lifetime offer, there's no guarantee that it will be extended. So I would have to go back to our CFO with my hands like this for that one. So we need to, I would jump on that as soon as you possibly can. There is a 7-day refund available on all of our plans. So if you try it out and you realize it's not the right functionality for you, you are welcome to get that 7-day refund, as long as it's within the 7-day period, of course. And then, as I mentioned, we are doing another webinar tomorrow that's designed for our Cobalt audience. Oh, I do see someone asked one more question. And apologies, because I think I missed this before. Is brand owner worth it for someone who's just starting his first listing? I would say yes, if you're trying to build a brand and trying to grow your business, in particular, because now you will get access to the brand owner plan for life. So over the life cycle of your Amazon business, you will start to need the functionality that comes with the brand owner plan. So if you wait, you just won't get the same offer. Like, I cannot underscore enough that this is the first time that we are doing the lifetime offer, and it may be the last time that we do the lifetime offer. It is brand new. We have never offered it before. We may never offer it again. I know a lot of people say that when deals are happening, like it's always like, oh, this is the best deal ever. Like, this actually is, like, we've not done it before. And so I would say, yes, it's worth it, in particular because this is the best price that you're going to get on it. And because it's going to offer you all of the functionality that you need as you grow. It's also going to really help you examine the market that you're playing in now. So even if you're just getting started, you can put in any ASIN and see who the competitors that you're really like playing against are.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Angelica. It's been great having you. Thanks for your great questions. All right. We're going to count it off. Going once, going twice. If there's no more questions, we will sign off. But again, I dropped in the support chat email, dropped in all those links. This will be sent to you after. And if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to our support team. They can even connect you with one of us. We're here. We're just on the other side. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy
See you guys.
New Year.